All right, so hi there. My name is Kirsten. For my Genius Bar assignment, I decided to cover Gravit Designer. This is a graphic design program that is free, and I just started using it within the last year in my library, and we have found it super useful and helpful, so I wanted to share it, and I figured a presentation would be the best way to show you how it actually is used. So first I'll talk about, what initially drove me to seek out Gravit Designer and a graphic design program in general. Then I'll go over, very briefly, just a couple software options and then what a vector actually is. And then finally, I'll show you how I've used Gravit Designer in my library, and I'll also outline a couple ways I think it could be used in other library settings. So since I work in the youth services department, I, before the pandemic, got to present story times that were designed by librarians. So for this particular story time, my librarian found a hat matching game, and it was very fun. The kids loved it. They loved shouting out, why they thought which hat matches which outfit. But as you can see, they all appear to be male, and they all also appear to be white. This is not very representative of my community in particular, and so I did try and find a game that showed different kinds of people that was similar, but I couldn't really find anything. So after this story time, I decided to look for ways to create my own clip art for future storytime games. So first, excuse me. So first I found Lanisha Tabb's YouTube channel, and her online handle is Education with an Apron. She's on Instagram, and she's also on the Teachers Pay Teachers website, and you can download some of her clip art for free. So in her YouTube video, she shows how to make clip art using the basic shape tools in PowerPoint. The clip art is super cute, and it's great, but I did get frustrated pretty quickly with the limitations of PowerPoint, but that makes sense. It's not really meant to be a graphic design program. But I did want to share it just because if you're already comfortable in PowerPoint and you want to make very simple clip art, this is a great way to do it. So I was looking for a program to use, and of course Adobe Illustrator is great and it is used by a lot of professional illustrators, but unfortunately it is not free. So when I was looking for free alternatives to Adobe Illustrator, I read about Inkscape and Gravit Designer. They came up a lot. So Inkscape and Gravit Designer are both free, and they have a good support community online. So there's lots of YouTube tutorials, and the user guides are very helpful. Inkscape was mentioned by Nicholson in her chapter that we read on international technology trends. And it is open source, so that is pretty cool. Gravit Designer is not open source, but it is free to download, and there's an option for a paid membership, but I have found the free version to be totally fine for my use. I also like Gravit Designer because it is a browser-based tool. So at my library, you might work at different desks throughout the day. So if I'm at the customer service desk, I can pull up, my web browser, work on a project, and then if I need to go to the youth services desk, then I can pull it up there too and just keep on working. And then also it's nice because I don't have to worry about, does my computer have the right software or hardware to support this program? It's all within the browser. So real quick, just, talking about what a vector actually is. So when you're working digitally, there's typically going to be two kinds of images. So a raster image is made up of individual pixels, and as you enlarge it, those pixels become more clear and the image itself gets more fuzzy or grainy. And I like to think of it like a pointillism painting, where if you look at it from a particular distance, it could look like a photograph, but as you get closer, you can see the individual dots of paint, and the closer you get, the more you can see them. A vector, on the other hand, is made of mathematical formulas. So if you remember, like geometry class, learning how math turns into curves and lines and stuff like that. Because there's no pixels, when you enlarge the image, it does not lose its clarity. Whenever you're working with a vendor for marketing materials, or we got t-shirts screen printed for our book sale employees and volunteers, and those vendors are going to typically want a vector image instead of raster because it's easier to work with and you can adjust the size without losing the quality of the image. So some ways that I've used Gravit Designer, as you can see, I kind of copied the hat game and I made my own. When I first started, I made the fireman and I kept the little outlines and, he's pretty cute. But then as I got more comfortable with the program, I was playing around a little bit and, I figured that I liked the clip art without the lines. I just think it looks a little better for this guy. I remembered his ears. So just as I got more comfortable, I was just playing around more and that was nice. And then behind our youth services desk, we have a very large flannel board and we create a little I Spy game. And we used to just put the flannel on a white piece of paper, take a picture, and then put that picture in a publisher document, with the I Spy, and kids would check it off, or cross it out as they found it. And it was a great way to keep younger kids occupied while their parent was checking out, a huge stack of picture books. But it was hard for the kids to tell which flannels were which because the pictures never really printed out very great. So I took a really, high resolution picture, put it in Gravit Designer, and then I clipped it out. So I cut away the background. And you can do that with any picture. So if you want to have just somebody's face, you can take a picture of them and then cut out the shape of their face and, get rid of the background. And then for crafts and hobbies, the flannel characters, we use PowerPoints a lot in our story times. And so it's nice to be able to have them in the PowerPoint as well as on the flannel board for people who are in the back of the program room and can't see the flannel board very well. And then personally, this is a picture of my great-great-grandma's house. And I took a picture of it. And then I put it in Gravit Designer and used the pen tool to basically trace, and I created a line drawing. I was able to print this line drawing and then trace it onto some fabric, and now I'm using it to create little embroidery hoops with the house, and that's going to be my holiday gift this year. But I figured, that would be a great option for a lot of different crafts and programs. Another way I've used it is when I am planning to decorate our windows, I will go into Gravit Designer and put the shapes I want to use onto the windows, and then I can kind of tell, do I like it or do I need to try something different? So that's just kind of helpful. And then the most recent thing I've done is I made a coloring page. We had a farm story time theme, and so I made a barn based on one of the barns in a picture book that we used. And then for potential uses, like I mentioned earlier, you can make designs for t-shirts, stickers, posters, any kind of marketing material. A vendor is typically going to want that vector image, and so this is a great way to do it yourself. I also think it would be great for programming. I think school age teens and adults would all have fun with the program and enjoy it. And then, of course, this is a great opportunity for creative expression and creating art. And I actually have a couple examples of what other people have done. So as you can see, the illustration by Patricia has a lot of different textures, and it is just a very nice image, and I thought it was very professional looking. And then in the middle, we have a lettering example. I know hand lettering is a big deal right now. And so you could do your hand lettering and then take a picture, put it in Gravit Designer, and basically trace it to create a vector design of your handwriting. And this could be used, for all kinds of programs. And then lastly, I wanted to show, this is a class project where the students designed what they wanted to have on their pendant, and then they sent their designs from Gravit Designer to the wood printing service. So it's definitely accessible for a teen kind of age group. And if you want to find that teacher's Twitter, his name is Paul Kelly, and this is his Twitter down here. All right, so thanks for listening. Like I said, my name is Kirsten Woodall, and if you ever need to record your screen, right now I'm using ShareX. It is a free program, and it is also open source. Thanks.